So we've got some real garbage to look at today. This morning when I was skimming headlines, I saw something about Indiana asking the USDA to ban soda and candy from people who receive SNAP benefits. Great. That's going to go well. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, why should poor people buy candy and soda? They should only buy nutritious foods. Well, what's nutritious? What's nutritious? Okay. Is this nutritious? This is water with water flavoring in it. Is this nutritious? Here's another one. Apparently I didn't finish my first one. But that one's old. What about Hamburger Helper? Is Hamburger Helper nutritious? Do you think it's nutritious? They want to ban people from buying candy, and soda. Well, what's the definition of that? Well, let's read the article and find out. So Arkansas and Indiana wouldn't start telling people what they can and can't buy with their food stamps in detail. Keep in mind, there were already things you can't buy with food stamps. You can't buy stuff. Like I can't buy this coffee mug with food stamps. I can't buy pens. I can't buy pencils. I can't buy toilet paper. You can't even buy feminine hygiene products with SNAP. It's just food. And they already limit it. You can't buy any prepared foods. So you can't buy that hot food at the deli at the Meijer. If you want, French fries or something that is hot at the deli, you already can't buy that. And you, of course, can't buy alcohol or cigarettes or any kind of tobacco product, vape, marijuana. You can't buy none of that with SNAP. It's already just food. And it has to be food you have to prepare at home. Okay? The only way you really get around that is if you go to the deli and you get like some ham and some cheese and some bread, and then you pick up a $2 thing of plastic forks, or maybe they've got some at the deli that you can pick up. And you can go make yourself a sandwich in the car. That's about as close to prepared food as you can get on SNAP. Unless you just get a Coke and a candy bar and call that lunch. Because you don't have time to prepare a sandwich like that or wait in line at the deli. Right? Okay, so they want to take that off the table. Let's find out what's going on. Indiana's very, very conservative. Yeah, I don't think they like their citizens very much, to be quite honest. So this article says the Republican governors in Arkansas and Indiana moved Tuesday, that would be today, April the 15th, to ban soft drinks and candy from the program that helps low-income people pay for groceries, becoming the first states to ask the Trump administration to let them remove such items from the program known as food stamps. I've been on and off food stamps for years. I'm not on food stamps right now. I make this much too much money to be on them. So, I'm not on them right now. That's also part of the reason I have to go to the food pantry every week. If I had food stamps, I wouldn't need to go to the food pantry every week. I still would have to go sometimes, though. So, Sarah Huckabee and her state's request is aimed at improving the health of nearly 350,000 residents who participate in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. This is not going to work. She wants to improve the health of people on SNAP by limiting soda and candy. I'm just going to be real honest here. It's not the soda and candy that's doing it. It's all the shit in a box, okay? It's the Hamburger Helper. It's the macaroni. It's everything in the middle of the grocery store. So when are they going to ban all of that? so that all you can buy is produce, meat, and dairy. It's probably coming, folks. And then these guys on food stamps, they're going to starve. Because you know what produce, fresh meat, and deli does, or not deli, but dairy food does really well? It expires. It rots. It molds. You know, an apple is not going to stay good for 30 days. A banana is not going to stay good 30 days. You know, and you can say, well, produce will stay good if you put it in the freezer. Yeah, it will. But you've all seen me prepare food, fresh vegetables for the freezer. It takes a long, long time. It does. So, what they're saying is that taxpayers are subsidizing poor health. Sanders said at a Little Rock News conference with U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. We're paying for it on the front end and the back end. Really? Really? I know plenty of people who are not on food stamps who have terrible poor health. Okay? You know, I know lots and lots of people that do not have food stamps that have terrible, terrible poor health. It wasn't the food stamps, and it wasn't candy bought by food stamps. So, Indianapolis Governor Mike Braun was joined by the U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Oz, who leads the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, to announce sweeping changes to put the focus back on nutrition, not candy and soft drinks. Right. Love this headline. RFK Jr., Indiana, Arkansas want to control food and drink SNAP users can buy with their $6.20 a day. Now, when I was getting SNAP, the last time I was getting it, it was $291. So it is another 30 days in April. So we'll go 291 divided by 30. $9.70 was what I was allotted for food per day when I was on SNAP for the last round. $9.70. This might be a family of four. They have a bad habit of not doing the single thing and assuming that everybody's got four people in their household. Okay, USA Today says, so here they say 10 states are moving to do this, ban soda and candy. So they don't even have this really broken down. It says 23% of food stamp dollars go toward foods like sweetened beverages, candy, desserts, and salty snacks for an annual total of about $25 billion. But for me, that would have been, and I swear I didn't spend that much on sodas and shit like that, but 23%. So $67 is what they're assuming that I spent on essentially junk food per month. I don't think it was that high, but it may have been. Who knows? I used to like eating nachos, so I would buy a lot of tortilla chips and salsa and guacamole. Oops, can they buy that on food stamps if they do this? Could you imagine that? You're going to make nachos for dinner? So you get the beef, you get the canned tomatoes, you get your spices, and you get your tortilla chips. And that's all you've got. You don't have any non-food items in your stuff. And you ring everything up. They're like, you owe us $8. And you're like, for what? Well, for the tortilla chips. Whoops. Kids, put them back. Guess we're not having chips with our nachos tonight. Or what about a birthday cake? Could you imagine that? You know, you scrimp and save 1 month for your kid's birthday party. You know, you really reduce your food stamp consumption. You know, you scale back the foods that you buy so you can get your kids some cake and ice cream for their birthday. Oh, sorry, you can't have any cake and ice cream or soda for your kid's birthday. Well, shit. There goes any birthday parties for the poor people. But they don't deserve that anyway. They should be working. You know, I just can't imagine. It was difficult. It's difficult enough for me to cook foods from scratch because that's all I can afford. I can't afford to eat out. I can't really afford much in the way of frozen food either. In fact, I get all my food from the food pantry. So, you know, and I have to prepare every stitch of that. And it's hard for me to do it. Could you imagine now that all I can buy is meat, dairy, and vegetables out of the produce department? It's going to rot. Why buy it at all? It's just going to rot. But anyway, they're saying they're wasting $25 billion on candy, desserts, and salty snacks. How dare you poor people eat candy, desserts, and salty snacks? So, over the next decade, more than $60 billion taxpayer dollars are expected to pay for soda alone. Soft drinks are the most popular item purchased with food stamps. Yeah, I used to buy Diet Dr. Pepper with mine, or Diet Pepsi. And I still do for a limited amount, but food stamps really don't go that far. So what I ended up buying most of the time was this right here. Water, with water flavoring. Which is not half bad. This is pomegranate. The only real issue I have with it is it's flat. It's flat because water's flat. So, are they joking? What is wrong with these people? One part of the problem is that food stamps create a moral hazard. Oh, it's moral now. You're sinning if you buy junk food. Encouraging people to buy junk food in quantities that they otherwise wouldn't. Yeah, because they're not going to buy anything otherwise. What the hell's wrong with you? That's asinine. It's asinine, it's cliche, it's a stereotype. I don't know too many people on food stamps that go nuts in the junk food aisle because they just got their food stamps. They usually go nuts in the freezer section and in the meat section because that's what they're after. Meat and vegetables. Except the freezer section because they don't want to do all that chopping and cutting. And then they'll get things like bread and chips and donuts for breakfast, maybe some cereal for breakfast. Oh, wait. Cereal is a sweetened product. So are they going to ban cereal next too? I mean, cereal is really, really awful for you. I wish I had a box of cereal and a candy bar in here. I would show you the stuff. But next time you're in the store, grab a box of that sweetened cereal, then go grab a candy bar and figure out which one is worse. I bet the box of cereal's worse. So anyway, research shows the typical food stamp recipient consumes far more sugary drinks than people on similar incomes who aren't on the program. Wait a minute. Research shows that the typical food stamp recipient consumes far more sugary drinks than people with similar incomes who aren't on the program. What? So in other words, wow. So they're comparing people who are on food stamps to people who need to be on food stamps but are too proud, egotistical, whatever to get on them. One of those groups is starving, folks, and it's not the guys on the food stamps. Okay? Not the guys on the food stamps. So that's not even comparable. They should not be comparing that. They should be comparing food stamp recipients to people who can afford to buy food. Whatever that happens to be. You should not be, if someone's making $10,000 a year and they're on food stamps, they should not be compared to someone who makes $10,000 a year who is not on food stamps. The guy over here, he's starving to death. God, man, that's asinine. Of course, the guy making $10,000 a year isn't spending as much money on snacks and sugary drinks because he didn't have it to begin with. I'll give you a story. So, when I was in my 20s, I didn't know about food pantries, and honestly, the food pantries in North Carolina are pretty terrible. At least they were back in the early 2000s. So, I would go to work at Walmart, making my $8 or $9 an hour, whatever it was. I would not eat breakfast because there was no food at my house, okay? No food. I'd be lucky if there was a 2-liter at the house or a 20 ounce. But all I would drink is sodas because they would keep me awake. And it was full sugar sodas too. Not only would they keep me awake, they would give me calories that I could not afford otherwise. Essentially, I'd get up and drink some soda. I wasn't a coffee drinker at the time, and not a big coffee drinker anyway. Sometimes I'd stop by Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or whatever and get a coffee. But actually, I had coffee at Walmart. Yeah. So I'd drink my soda at home, go into Walmart, arrive a little bit early, get a coffee from the break room, that was free, drink my coffee, clock in, go out and do a little bit. About an hour after I clocked in, I would go get a soda, and one of those grandma's cookies cost about probably $2, $2.50 max. So I'd get a soda and a cookie, and that's breakfast, along with whatever, coffee I drank earlier. $2.50. So then I'd go to lunch. I didn't bring any lunch with me, so I'd go to the frozen food section and get whatever I'd get, maybe a banquet or a pot pie, or maybe I'd go to the deli and get some French fries and chicken. French fries and chicken. Cost me maybe $3 or $4. So we're up to $4, $5, $6.50. $6.50 for the day. So I'd get off work and I'd go to Wendy's. And I would get 2 bacon cheeseburgers, the little ones, the little bitty ones. A $1 French fry and a $1 soda. And I would eat that, and that would be my dinner. Buddy, I was this big. I was this big. And in fact, I was underweight. I got so underweight working that job, I scared management. So I'm spending, $4, $8, $11 on food a day, we'll say. On the days I ate. Let's be honest, I spent $11 on the day I ate, but let's assume that I could afford to eat every day. So that's 11 times 30. So I was spending $330 on food every day, and 99.999% of it was junk food. And I was making, what is it? It's 10 times 40 times 82, $16,848 back then. That was too much to be on food stamps back then. Now these days, I think it just barely qualifies. So, yeah. But somebody else making $16,848 and getting food stamps, maybe there are 2 people in their household, they're eating more sodas and snacks than I am. Well, no kidding. No kidding. Because they have more money to eat in general. I'm not eating at all. All I can afford is snacks, right? All I can afford is a soda and a cookie for breakfast. And some little frozen Michelinas for lunch or banquet. And then I got to go to Wendy's and eat off the dollar menu. That's all I can afford. Some days, all I would buy is a big bag of Reese's for like $6 and a 2-liter. And that's what I would eat all day. yeah, go ahead and tell me that somebody on food stamps is eating more junk food than I was. So anyway, adults on food stamps also have a higher obesity rate than non-recipients with similar incomes. Well, no shit. I am 5'9". I worked for Walmart for about 2 years. When I started, I was about the size I am now. When I got another job after Walmart, I weighed 134 pounds, I think it was. 134 pounds. I lost 80 pounds. 134. No, it wasn't quite that much. £76. I lost 76 pounds working at Walmart. You're right. I wasn't obese when I worked at Walmart and couldn't afford food. I was underweight. No shit. States are on the front lines of this worsening crisis. It couldn't possibly be because there's no real food in the grocery stores anymore. I mean, really. In December, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders announced that her state would become the first to ask the incoming Trump administration for a waiver to ban junk food purchases on food stamps. This is not the road to be on. It's a bad road to be on. She says, 1/3 of our state has diabetes or pre-diabetes, 40% of the state struggles with obesity, and sadly, these health conditions disproportionately affect lower-income families, the same people who rely on SNAP for food, because they have so much time to exercise. Because, after getting off at your overnight shift at the gas station from 10 until 6 a.m., then you go home and you get 4 hours of sleep while your kids jump on the bus. Then you go to your fast food job for 4 hours for lunch. Then you come home and you try and get something done for your kids, like meals or cleaning or whatever. And then at 10 p.m. you got to go back to your gas station job. But it's the food that's doing it, right? Not exhaustion and overwork. It's not SNAP that's doing it. It's the same thing that keeps me behind this desk. It's the same reason I bike to the grocery stores. I just don't get a lot of exercise because I have to work. And that means I got to sit at this desk and work. So I don't have time to get up and exercise. I don't have time to... I've got a gym in the room right there. I really do. In fact, let me show it to you. Well, yeah, let me show it to you. I got to think about it. I'm running 2 cameras, the one on the screen and the one, this one. But there you go, folks. I have a bike and a bench and some weights here. And the weights are like that. So I can't even get in here to exercise. That is how little time I have. And it's literally in the room next to my office. Okay? So, you want to know what the problem is with the obesity? It's that poor people disproportionately work their asses off all the time. It's just all you do is work. That's all I do is work. But, poor people are just lazy scum that don't want to work. All they do is sit on their ass eating snack cakes and watching reality TV. Come on. I'm not saying that there aren't poor people that do that. I'm saying little bit. So, a soda and candy ban would reduce diabetes and obesity rates. I doubt it, because it's not soda and candy. It's the poison they're putting in the bread. It's, just look at the ingredients on a box of pasta. I don't think I've got a hamburger helper in there. But let me go go get the box of Fiber One. Fiber One, it's healthy for you, right? So I got two items. I got my pancake syrup, and I got this box of Fiber One. This is whole grain Fiber One cereal with 18 grams of whole grain per serving. So that's 18 grams of carbs, folks. 18 grams of carbs. But let's see what's in it. Ingredients: whole grain wheat, corn bran, modified wheat starch, color added, guar gum, cellulose gum, salt, baking soda, sucralose is a type of fake sugar. And then they have added calcium carbonate, vitamin C, as sodium ascorbate, iron, and zinc. Okay, so they've added vitamins to this to make it appear healthy. And actually, that's not too bad except for the sucralose. Sucralose is fake sugar. So let's see what's here. Fiber One cereal has 1 gram of fat, 140 milligrams of sodium, 33 grams of carbohydrates in a 40-gram serving. Okay, it's got 18 grams of fiber. That much is good. 1 gram of soluble fiber, 17 grams of insoluble fiber, 3 grams of protein. So what are the net carbs on that? There are carbs, and then there are net carbs. So we got 18 grams of fiber and 33 carbs. So it nets out at 15 carbs per serving. Now, I started to put this up. I want to do a compare and contrast. Now, I've got this pancake syrup, Smart Way pancake syrup. This is fake. This is all corn syrup. But it's got no fat, no sodium, 26 grams of carbohydrates, 17 grams of sugar, and no protein. It is made out of corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, water, and then it contains less than 2% caramel color, potassium sorbate, which is a preservative, citric acid, and natural and artificial flavors. Oh, Kroger makes this. So this is 110 calories for 30 milliliters, or 2 tablespoons. 30 milliliters is basically 30 grams. So, yeah, neither one of these are good for you. Are they going to ban this? What about this? Are they going to ban this? So, all right, so what about this can of pineapple chunks? Is this healthy? Let's look. 1/2 cup, or 140 grams, is 80 calories. So there's no calories in it at all. It's got no fat, no sodium, 20 carbohydrates per serving, 1 gram of fiber, 17 grams of sugar. It has no vitamin D, no calcium, no iron, and 80 milligrams of potassium. No vitamin C. Is that healthy? I mean, I just read you the label, and then I read you those other labels. This looks worse. This looks worse. I mean, there's no vitamins in this, just a little potassium. And a whole lot of carbs. 20 grams of carbohydrates. 17 grams of sugar. Is this a candy bar? Sure reads like a candy bar. But candy and soda, that's the problem. You want to know what killed my mom? Fast food. Fast food killed my mom. Now, she wasn't on food stamps or anything like that. She was on disability because nursing wrecked her back. So, she also had a hefty case of basically untreatable depression, but she ate herself to death. But she didn't eat herself to death on candy and sodas. That was just a small part of her diet. And she did love her Pepsi. She truly did. And she loved Hershey's candy bars. But she didn't really eat a whole lot of that. No, what she ate was Red Lobster, Applebee's, Wendy's, Bob Evans, McDonald's. God, McDonald's. Okay? That's what she ate. It wasn't processed foods. She didn't hardly go to the store. Or when she did, she would buy cucumbers and tomatoes. That's what she would buy at the grocery. Cucumbers, tomatoes, and Diet Pepsi. I mean, she might buy some milk or something like that, but that's all that was. Or, biscuits, like Pillsbury biscuits in a can, something like that. Eggs, bacon, those kind of things. But she didn't really eat that stuff. She ate McDonald's. She ate Wendy's. She ate White Castle. She ate Applebee's. She ate Red Lobster, Cracker Barrel. You name a fast food restaurant, and that's where she was getting her food. You know what? Food stamps doesn't pay for that. Okay? Food stamps doesn't pay for that, and that is why she was overweight. Okay? She wasn't on food stamps either, so there is that. But hey, it's just the candy and soda that's the problem. Never mind what it actually is. So, Dr. J. Bet, wow, these names. Okay, whatever that name is, I cannot pronounce these names at all. Nominated to lead the National Institutes of Health says, yes, he and his colleagues at Stanford University estimate that eliminating soda and sugary drinks from food stamp purchases would save 141,000 kids from obesity and 240,000 adults from type 2 diabetes. I'm calling bullshit. I don't think so. Restricting purchases of other unhealthy foods like candy would multiply those health benefits. What about fruit juice? I won't eat fruit juice. I won't even touch it. It's so full of sugar. They think soda is bad. They need to read the label on a thing of fruit juice. Okay? It's so... I won't even touch it. I will not touch any fruit juice at all. I won't do it. This is coffee in this cup. Coffee. Or I make tea. Or I do this. Or I have diet sodas. I do not drink fruit juice. They say soda's bad. Fruit juice is worse. Despite the obvious upsides for Americans' health, the federal bureaucracy has fought calls for reform for more than a decade, perhaps reflecting the influence of the food lobbyists. A 2007 report that's still featured in the Department of Agricultural website laughably claimed that no clear standards exist for defining foods as good or bad, healthy or not healthy. Here's the deal. What diet are you following? This is not laughable. This is true. What diet are you following? Okay? Let's say I like a diet high in salt, but I don't have any heart problems. As of yet, knock on wood. Now let's say you have high blood pressure, so you have to limit your salt. My diet is not healthy for you. Should we both be on your diet? Who makes that choice? Or let's say you've got prediabetes and you're going carnivore. Or you've got early diabetes and you've gone carnivore. You're not eating any carbs at all. You're not eating any carbs at all. Should we all be on the carnivore diet then? Because there's no carbs in the carnivore diet. There's this many. Or should we all be doing Atkins? Or should we all be doing the fruit diet? Or should we all be doing the fish diet? How about the Mediterranean diet, the Atkins diet, the South Beach diet? Which one of those is healthy? Do you know? But what diet is healthy? So I actually agree with the statement that they're saying is laughable. Tell me what is healthy, because, and here's the deal. Let's say, what was I going to say? I don't remember what I was going to say. I was going to make a good point and I lost it. But anyway. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Produce. Produce has pesticides on it. Pesticides are not good for you. So is eating produce good for you? What about apples? Apples are covered in pesticides. They're covered. You know, and let's say you're going to go organic. But there's a lot of E. coli in organic food. Is that healthy? I mean, if you eat I don't know what the latest one was, but it's like cantaloupe and lettuce and all that, tomatoes, onions, they all end up with E. coli on them. That's a butt-blasting experience. But are those healthy? I mean, since they're giving you a bad intestinal infection? What's healthy? And what's healthy according to who? So, it also bemoaned that implementation of food restrictions would increase program complexity and costs. It might. I don't know. I mean, is it? Do you line delete that stuff, or is there a category for exclusions? And then where do you stop? But any potential costs pale in comparison to what taxpayers spend on medical care for people who consume federally funded junk food. What is junk food? Is that everything in the center of the store? Because that's typically what I've been told is junk food. Only the outside of the store is worth eating. So, of course, the bakery is usually on the outside, too. Says the best solution to this crisis would be a federal law that ends federal subsidies for unhealthy food. In January, Rep. Josh Breachin introduced the Healthy SNAP Act, which would end food stamp purchases of sugary drinks, candy, ice cream, and desserts. Wow. So if you're poor, you can't have any more ice cream. That's awful. That's awful. You can't have any more birthday parties, dude. There is a precedent for excluding certain foods from SNAP. Healthy foods like roasted chickens and fresh soup aren't eligible because they're prepared for immediate consumption. This is what I said earlier. You can't buy this with food stamps. Because the government already bans these nutritious items, excluding healthy foods should be a no-brainer. What? So you can't have the chicken or the soup, and you shouldn't have any unhealthy foods either. This sentence has got issues, man. This sentence lacks common sense, but then we're talking about the government here, so. While passing a federal law takes time, the Department of Agriculture can take swifter action by granting waivers to states. There is a bipartisan consensus that SNAP should incentivize nutrition for Americans, not junk food. The longer we wait, the more expensive it gets, leaving taxpayers and millions of low-income Americans to suffer. They don't have time to prepare your healthy meals. They don't have time. You can look at how long it takes me to prepare the meals that I do. It takes me a very long time to do it. But if I've got a microwave dinner, well, assuming I had a microwave, or something quick, which I rarely do because I have to buy my food at the food pantry, that matters to me so I can get on to doing something more productive. But whatever, I think this is going to cause a problem, folks. Because it rots. It rots. And then they're going to have to freeze it. Do you know how to cook meat directly from frozen? I mean, you probably do from watching me. But once you freeze a meat, are you really going to let it thaw all day in the fridge? You know, you don't have time for that. You got to make dinner now. Because you got another job to go to. This is a bad idea. And it leaves the door wide open for banning other things. I mean, who's to say that chicken fingers or chicken nuggets are healthy? Are French fries healthy? Is that going to be banned? You know, they're in the freezer section. So are onion rings. Are they going to ban all snacks? What about granola bars? What about oatmeal? What about Pop-Tarts? Are they going to ban all that too? I mean, what do they think is candy and snacks? You know, it's not going to be a good situation. It's not. And Indiana also wants to eliminate the Medicaid expansion. And I know some of y'all live in Indiana. They want to eliminate the Medicaid expansion too. And they're trying to pass the food stamp banning on certain foods along with a Medicaid thing that also like knocks people off of medical care. So not only are you not going to be eating, you ain't going to be going to the doctor either. I guess that'll solve the problem. If sick people with chronic diseases can't go to the doctor because they lose their Medicaid, I guess Indiana becomes a healthier state. Anyway, folks, that's my thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you're so motivated. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.